Hey, everybody, great to have you along. I'm meteorologist Andy Parker, David Vogan along with me here, our esteemed storm chaser. Not a lot to chase yet, but it's going to get there as we move into the next 72 hours. We are on the cusp of what is going to be the first significant lake effect snow event, potentially historic if all things line up as this starts to go. So let's start with what we're looking at on the screen. David, take us through the here and now of what's happening outdoors. This event has actually begun for some communities.
Yeah, we are seeing some lake effect rain and snow showers, especially for those of us into the Colden area, extreme southern Erie County, as we take a look at it on the map right there. But I will say we did have some okay snow totals out there during the overnight hours. We're talking about Allegheny County. Good afternoon to you folks out there. Wellsville got about 2 inches of snow last night. And then we got up to right around Erie County, Glenwood area, right around 0.88 inches out there in locations. Niagara County didn't see a whole lot either. Lockport around a half an inch. So that's about enough to brush off the snowfall off the cars and the windows in the north towns out there. But great to have you along this afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dave Vogan. Andy Parker is behind the scenes right now, and we are again seeing some lake effect rain and snow showers, especially for those of us in extreme southern Erie County. So Kissing Bridge, Colden area, Springville. But right now, it looks like this is not the big event, Andy, that we are looking forward to, but this lake effect snow event is going to begin to produce some snowfall out there in portions of Chautauqua County, extreme southern Erie, and that's going to lead to some measurable snowfall for some of us.
It is, David. It's already sticking to the ground in places like Hamburg, Orchard Park, Derby, East Aurora, Point South, up to West Seneca. It's still a bit of a rain-snow mix. You can see that as we bring this full and look at it towards the lake. This is kind of band number one, and this is not intense, but it is making for sloppy driving. This is 6 p.m. tonight. I'm going to toggle back. If you're just joining us, we have the folks on Facebook. We're welcoming our LinkedIn community as well as our YouTube family. We just sent out a text list and are welcoming thousands of Western New Yorkers in for this information. This is what you want to know. You can interact and ask comments. We're happy to do that. And we appreciate your reports. Sandra, thank you very much. Good afternoon. No snow in Cheektowaga. You should have wrote yet. We're happy to have your comments. All right, let's take the folks through time here, David, and take a peek at what we've got. This is tonight as we go through 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. As it gets colder, look at the snow begin to go from rain to snow just to snow. And that's Springville. That's Perrysburg. That's Dunkirk, inland of the lake. And who else is down there? Northern sections of Chautauqua and Cattaraugus County. This is going to include Ellicottville. But look at the border, the tri-county border between Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Southern Erie.
Yeah, and it's going to be those areas that have the greater potential to see between 4 and 8 inches from today into tonight. An early Thursday morning, and you can see as we go throughout time, this is going to be a lull period Thursday morning into the afternoon before the real big lake effect event begins to start.
Let's freeze it right here. Everybody just joining in. We just brought a lot of people into the stream. So what we're watching is the lake snow event that's occurring right now for some of the south towns. The north towns, they're saying, hey, there's no snow on Grand Island yet, and it won't be today. LinkedIn user, welcome. A dusting so far in OP starting to pick up. Yes, it is. And watch what happens. This stays right over some of the, we'll call them the most northern south towns. This stadium, OP, northern sections of Hamburg. Then it sinks down tonight into Springville, Dunkirk, Perrysburg, Gowanda, maybe as far south as Jamestown. But it looks like it goes really the northern sections of Chautauqua and Cattaraugus, and then it fades away. What I want to take us to now is the map that's just going to cover this particular event. So, David, walk us through this. If you're in the red, you're going to see some snow tonight.
Yeah, and notice, this is all south of Buffalo. The reds, that is a very good indication of where you're going to see the highest amount of snow. And this is, again, 4 to 8 inches. So out in the hilltops, Springville area, you can see you're in the bullseye right there. North Collins, Colden, traveling down to Forestville, Route 30 or State Road 39, that is Dunkirk, Fredonia, Cassadaga. We haven't called your name out a whole lot. Sinclairville, again, the reds. the best chance to see 4 to 8 inches of snow. Again, this is today from Wednesday, early Thursday morning. Can't stress that enough. Widening out the view. The blue, you're in the middle. So Cattaraugus, Little Valley, 3 to 6 inches of snow for you folks, and then all the way out to Holland Arcade. But again, this is the big lake effect snow event, Andy, and a lot of this is south of Buffalo. Keep that in mind. This is deep Erie County, South Erie County, the ridge top on Chautauqua.
Yeah, you got it. So that's happening right now, and then that's going to be tonight. So those folks are going to be digging out from anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of snow on some of the hills of southern Erie County. Let's switch maps. Now I want to take folks, we're getting a lot of questions here. Let me pop a few of them on the screen. North Tonawanda, they want to hear about. Another one in Tonawanda, the town of Niagara. So let's talk about when this stuff starts to go north. And we're happy to hear from everybody. Go ahead, put your comments in. We'll address them. So David, let's walk everyone through this. Watch what happens now. This is Thursday, the calm before the storm. Nobody's having any problems on Thursday other than the folks digging out from the snow tonight in the southern tier. But watch the band of snow. This is 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. So the folks down in Chautauqua County start to see this burst of snow come through, but it doesn't last. It's going to be ugly driving along the thruway in the evening, especially near the Pennsylvania line. And then tell me what happens. Take a walk through here as this goes a little bit closer to the city.
Yeah, it's going to be right around between 7 and 10 o'clock. Look at that band just push on up into the Metro Buffalo area and those darker blues. That is a very good indication. We are going to see some very intense bands of snow move on into the Buffalo area. Again, much of Thursday is a lull. It's going to be quiet until we get late afternoon, evening. This is when we start to see right around between 7 and 10 o'clock Buffalo. There you go. West Seneca, Lackawanna. I mean, this is going to be some difficult traveling if you're going to be on the thruway, Route 5, South Park Avenue, the local roads as well into the Buffalo area.
Let's freeze it here. We've got Nancy wants to know about Aurora. Ashley would like to know about West Seneca. And Sandra says, thank you. We thank you. If you could just give us a like, go ahead and smash that like button as much as you can. We appreciate it. It helps out a lot. All right, so let's deal with Aurora and West Seneca. And I'm sure there's a lot of other folks that want to know about that. This is the timing on it. And Aurora and West Seneca are in the same boat. It really is around 8 to 9 o'clock on the first inkling that you're going to get this burst of snow. And this is not the most intense. Then it begins to move northward and really stretch that band out. And it's that dark blue that you can see in there. And what we want to do is kind of give you not just this bird's eye view, but let's bring you in a little closer street level. And we can really detail some of the communities here as we get into like 11 and 12 o'clock. It's this area right in here, that darker blue. This is when the city is going to get their real burst of snow. A couple inches an hour, correct, David?
Yeah, 2 to 3 inches of snow and even thunder snow. Definitely a possibility within these bands of snow. And this is right around midnight. Once we go past midnight, actually looking at some of the comments right now, we got Wheatfield in the house. We got Clarence in the house, Buffalo and Cheektowaga, Lockport. A lot of people asking questions about when is this going to hit my backyard? And you're looking at this right now. Right around midnight, you can see that band in Buffalo, but watch what happens past midnight. This begins to shift further south into the South Town, still Buffalo on the fringe of seeing some of that lake effect snow, Andy. And right around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you can see this is right around the Hamburg area, Orchard Park, even extending into the Wyoming County area, at least the western portions of Wyoming County. Holland, Farnham, calling out your name, Evans, seeing some of that good snowfall out there in portions of southern Erie County, Andy.
So let's say, what does this mean for people? All right, so here it is. As we kind of peek at this, I want to center it up so that we can get a peek at how this is going to maneuver across the area. So let's bring this in. This is midnight, 1 a.m. in Buffalo. Now let's jog this to where the morning commute comes in. And you can see that that's going to sit there for a number of hours. That's going to deposit a solid set of inches. So somewhere around 4 to 8 inches of snow already on the ground for the morning commute in South Buffalo, Buffalo, inland up towards Akron along the thruway. And it's going to be blowing in there. Anybody that has any travel that takes you from the South Towns to Tonawanda or Tonawanda down to the South Towns, it's going to be trouble. We had some folks talking about Wheatfield. Wheatfield, there's your burst of snow. If you're wondering about when you're going to see something there, this is, I think, as it gets going, you could get a burst of snow. And then you're out of the mix as this drops back south, and you can really see how it begins to focus on some of the communities right along the lakeshore and then up inland towards Leroy, Batavia, and Rochester. Now we're taking folks into the 7 a.m. hour. And this is where things get a little bit ominous, where the northern edge of that lake band begins to take on some properties where we could find some real intensification and more issues for those communities. Right, Dave?
Yeah, and we're getting some more comments too. Attica's in the house. Diane wants to know what the temps will be like. And Daniel's also wondering, is this tonight? No, this is not tonight for, the North Towns or for Buffalo. But the deeper portions of Erie County, Chautauqua County, yes, you're going to see some snowfall. Not like what Buffalo is going to see late Thursday into Friday. But what we're looking at right now, this is Friday, and you can see that band meandering at times between the South Towns and Buffalo. So Daryl wants to know, is this Thursday into Friday? Yes. This is right around Friday, and you're starting to see that band begin to meander from 7 o'clock in the morning into the afternoon, further north again into Buffalo. So this is going to meander a little bit at times, but the intensity, 2 to 3 inches of snow sitting on top of Blaisdell, East Aurora, Depew at times. I mean, this is going to add up, Andy, quickly for portions of, South Buffalo and Lackawanna.
We just welcomed in. We just welcomed in an entire new audience. So let's re-rack this. We're dealing with Thursday night right now, and what you're going to see on the screen is Thursday. This band of snow coming into Buffalo between 9 and midnight. We know that's the start time. There's no wiggle room in that. It's going to happen, and it begins with a burst of snow for the South Towns and then the city of Buffalo. And this is the best chance for the Falls and Tonawanda, some of the North Towns, to get a quick shot of snow, a few inches on the ground. And then that very intense blue that you see over the city of Buffalo, let's bring this full. That is going to be the opportunity to really bring in some thunder snow, some 2 to 3 inch per hour, and it lingers there for a number of hours. So it's conceivable that you're sitting on 6 inches of snow between Buffalo, Depew, all the way out to Batavia, several inches of snow before this begins to line up and settle slightly south of the city. And again, the wiggle room in here is not much. You can see that is a very fine line. And when it comes to lake effect, you're not talking about tens of miles, but really you're talking about the exit from the 190 to the 90 to downtown, and you could be driving from clear conditions into a real mess. But it does look like right now that the South Towns are a little bit more of the center point for this than the city during the morning hours on Friday. Then as it moves back up, the city gets into the mix a bit as we get to the mid-afternoon. But this does not go to the North Towns during the course of the day on Friday. I think we can rule that out. The Tonawandas really are not in play during the course of our Friday afternoon and early evening. There's a look at the band. You'll get snow in Springville, but it's not going to be as intense. And this gets us all the way to 7 o'clock at night for portions of Western New York. I want to bring in this map here. And Dave, let's walk folks through this and what the red means on this map.
Yeah, well, Wendy just commented that she lives in Eden and she works in North Buffalo. It looks like it's going to be a snow day for me on Friday. And yeah, I mean, if you have to travel in this, and asterisk it's not going to be fun. You're talking about some intense lake band, some snow that's going to be very hard to see, a car length in front of you. And what we're looking at right now, by the way, this is the polygons that are showing you the best chance to see more than a half foot of snow. In fact, more than 8 inches on Friday. This is just Friday. The red is greater than 70% chance of seeing more than 8 inches of snow or half a foot, and that's including Buffalo. Zooming in, putting some more town names on the map. Here Buffalo, Depew, Cheektowaga, all the way to West Seneca, South Buffalo, Blaisdell. We can even go a little bit closer into Orchard Park, and it's right
the
here.
stadium.
That's where the stadium is. Yeah, so 219 traveling into Thruway. I mean, that's not great travel conditions. That's pretty bad travel conditions out here. Yep. For the deeper south towns. And this red line, where this polygon extends all the way into Evans, Derby, Angola, just on that border. Eden, we just saw that comment out there. Hamburg is in the house. Jen is asking about Hamburg. What do you think about flights leaving the Buffalo airport around 7 a.m. on Friday? I mean, we're getting a lot of comments here, Andy, but I can go up a little bit further north here and show you where Cheektowaga is. And Cheektowaga, again, right into that bullseye in the red polygon. So again, that red polygon indicating the best chances to see more than a half a foot of snow on Friday. And there's a good chance those communities, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, Buffalo, you're going to see more than a half a foot of snow on Friday.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We've got a lot of questions lined up. Dave, why don't you widen that out a little bit? And we're going to deal with the Friday storm, Friday only. And let's go, Jennifer in Attica. She's got Attica ? You can see Attica is inland there. And I think Attica is going to be kind of on the outside looking in for this. Yeah. Especially if you're on the east side of Attica. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to take Darien. And Darien, if you go up a little bit, Darien has a better shot at picking up more snow than Attica. So if you're driving between those two, the open fields, you're going to get the gusty winds and the snow. That'll be an issue. Anna says tomorrow or Friday. Again, it's Thursday night through Friday, all day Friday. That's what we're looking at there. And that says, is this Thursday and Friday? Yes, it is. Here we go. Let's go Tonawanda. This is another one here where you're kind of on the outside looking in. You're going to get a burst of snow as it starts, and then you're out of the mix until almost Saturday. And Cheryl, we appreciate that. If you can hit the screen, smash the like button, it helps out. It helps out a lot. Let's get down here.
Lakeview.
I know I saw one. Yeah, Hamburg and Lakeview. We're working our way down. We've talked about Hamburg. Hamburg is in this. Now, if you're Lakeshore Hamburg versus inland Hamburg, it's a whole different situation. I think the eastern North Boston, you get your snow tonight as opposed of during the course of this storm. Silver Creek is another one. Let's bring this down and slide down to Silver Creek. David, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, again, Silver Creek on the fringe of seeing, I mean, you're going to see some good snowfall out there in Silver Creek, and for those of us along Route 5 into Dunkirk, but it's the Reds. The Reds have the better indication or the best chance to see some very heavy snowfall, greater than 8 inches of snow on Friday. This is just Friday. So again, Blaisdell, Orchard Park, West Seneca, Elma, getting some more comments here. Buffalo Airport, Cheektowaga. Again, Friday, red polygon, greater chance that you see more than a half a foot of snow. This is more than 70% chance. So this is likely. This is what's going to happen on Friday. Just Friday, not Thursday night, but Friday. So this is going to be an event that extends, Thursday.
All right, so here we go. Back to this map. This is the one that we're keying on as we watch what's happening over the next 48 hours. So I want to bring this back to the initial onset of the storm. What we have tonight is a lake effect event that's happening for portions of the South Towns and Southern Tier. It's sticking to the ground right now. It's going to amass about 4 to 8 inches anywhere from Springville further south. This is what it looks like as we speak outside. That's the band as it makes its way inland, and it's going to continue doing that pretty much for the duration of today. And there you can see it sliding down into portions of Cattaraugus, Allegheny County. This is when you get your snow during the course of the night tonight. On Thursday, there's a lull. Thursday is great. Get your stuff done there, because after that, this is when it comes roaring in. A burst of snow in Dunkirk at dinner time. Between dinner and early evening, it's in the Boston Hills. It arrives in Buffalo after around 8 to midnight is when you start to see that. The intense snow goes from around 11, 12 o'clock into the early morning hours. terrible travel for the morning commute between Buffalo and the South Towns. And this sets up shop and sticks around pretty much right on through the day Friday with not a lot of movement. There's some wiggle room, but if we remember back in 2014, if there's any similarities between now and 2014, it's the fact that this thing could kind of lock in and focus on just one community instead of spreading it around. And that's when you get those really big totals that go instead of 18 to 20 inches, all of a sudden you're 20 to 30 inches of snow because this thing didn't move. And again, these are the communities. If you're within the red, you can expect to do some big time shoveling during the day on Friday. If you're traveling through any of those reds or even the dark blues that are on the screen, you're going to have some very difficult travel in here. So we've got this one. All right, Kyle. Kyle's been itching to ask this question. It does not impact the quarterly. Even if the Bills do play on Sunday, the lake effect will be gone and back out of here. So it should not affect the game. The lake effect should, other than their seats being full of snow, they got to dig that out. All right. Hamburg is on the outskirts of that. On Friday, I think. The big event. I think if you're inland Hamburg, if you're by 391, you have less of a chance than if you're lake snow there, or the lake shore there. There it is. Yeah. Thank you very much. And yeah, Lakeside Hamburg has a better shot. Airport. Let's deal with this one. Hey, Vito. We appreciate it. Vito is part of our tech group as well. So if you want, there's a number on the screen, 503-2639. Text that anytime, and you can get the answers that you're not getting from social media and from TV. We're happy to do that for you. All right, so let's look at the airport impact 9 to midnight. And I feel bad, Vito, if you've got a flight 9 to midnight on Friday night 9 to midnight. That's going to be a close call. I think that the airlines are going to err on the side of caution, David. I think we're going to start to see cancellations of events, schools, and also flights starting Thursday evening right on through Friday.
Yeah, and keep in mind, let's say that the airport, I mean, the airport has fantastic people that can clear snow. Like you couldn't even imagine. But when you get a snowstorm like this, I mean, 2-3 inches of snow an hour at times in the heaviest bands, no snow shovel, no matter how big it is going to be able to, clear this in time. I mean, it's just going to keep coming down, and it's really going to, impact a lot of these communities. I mean, this is just not one town. This is a lot of towns in the area. And, keep in mind, maybe this is on your doorstep. Maybe this is in your backyard, or it's not. You still have to travel into this area that's seeing some very heavy snowfall. 2 to 3 inches, very difficult to travel in. I mean, I remember Snowvember, and we had to travel to work. We had to travel through this band of snow back in 2014. And it was 2 to 3 inches of snow. You can't even see a car length in front of you, 2 car lengths in front of you, and you're just guiding yourself, looking at the street lamps, the street lights. And I remember watching people, just get out of their cars, start to embed in their vehicles on Route 5, even though there was 2-3 inches of snow on the ground at the start of the event. So, that's a very intense band of snow, Andy, that it's going to be tough to travel in, no matter where you are traveling in it.
Let's recenter, bring people back. Again, we're dealing with Friday, and what you're looking at on the screen is the start of the storm. The certainties of this is the start time. It's Thursday evening between 9 and midnight. Here you go. It's coming up the lake, a big burst of snow for everybody, and it doesn't leave a lot behind in the South Towns right away. This is the best chance for the North Towns, the Tonawondas, to get their lick of snow, because once this settles in, it's going to be a very narrow band that slides back through the city into some of the South Towns. And as we zero in and bring in the communities that are going to be the hardest hit, again, it's a lot nicer to call out the names of this, and you'll be able to see the razor thin margin between Buffalo, Cheektowaga, West Seneca, Lackawanna, Blaisdell, Orchard Park, the stadium located right there in the triangle, and then inland, we often neglect some of the communities that are inland. Alden, Town Line, Marilla, Elma. Elma was one of the harder hit ones in 2014. This goes all the way to Corfu. So any of these north-south roads like 77, the 219 for a certain example, Transit Road, they're not going to be easily traveled. As we go to the north towns on Friday, this is going to be your best time of day. In there during the early morning and afternoon, as this kind of hovers and stays south between the city and points south, and that's where it's going to live during the course of the day on Friday. Snow day for schools, absolutely. I think there's going to be you've got a full boat of snow days right now. I don't think anyone's even used a. We've had 80 degrees, so yeah, they're gonna play a snow card on this. It's a Friday. The administrators had 3-4 days of hearing this. It's really gotten to be this big thing, and I think they're going to start erring on the side of caution. I would imagine we're going to see that. Jacqueline, this is a great question too. I've seen many forecasted amounts. What are we really looking at in the band areas? And when we talk about the band area, David, it's that the area in the red. If your community is in this red zone, you're looking at more than a foot of snow. You're difficult traveling conditions, and it's going to be a mess during the course of the day on Friday. I think someone had mentioned 6 feet of snow, and I believe that was an AccuWeather map that was put out there. And really, the odds of that happening, the odds of a 6-foot accumulation out of this particular storm would be the equivalent of the Buffalo Bills going out on Sunday and throwing 10 consecutive touchdowns in a single game, winning the game 70 points. Now, we all know the potential is there, but in order for that to happen, so many things would have to go right for the Bills and wrong for the Cleveland Browns. You know that the score is not going to be 70 for Buffalo, but it'll be something less than that. That's what AccuWeather did. AccuWeather said, here's the perfect storm. Let's put that number out there and generate some excitement, hype, if you will. But we're cutting through the hype. The reality is we'll end up, if you're in that red zone, you're going to be measuring in feet, not inches, in most locations, anywhere from Buffalo to the South Towns. And I think that's a good way to kind of summarize it for people. Here's another one of our LinkedIn users. As of this time, where do you see the cut line being? That line is usually where the most extensive snowfall usually is. That is correct, David.
Yeah, I mean, flashbacks to 2014, and with November, everything had to go right, and that's why you saw all of that snowfall. And keep in mind, it was just not one event; it was 2 events that led to all that snowfall over a matter of 4 or 5 days. But going back to this event, yeah, you're seeing that lake effect band setting up late Thursday into Friday. Going to meander a little bit further south, but we were just talking about the cutoff. And when you go back to previous snow events, that northern line, that northern band that set up over South Buffalo during 2014, that is certainly a possibility that we could see that start cutoff at times. But the models right now are suggesting we're going to see a little bit, and I mean a little bit of meandering, Andy, at times during the day on Friday.
All right, he wants to know where the cut line is. I'll make the call right here. I think it's going to be right between Buffalo and Orchard Park. So Lackawanna, Blaisdell, West Seneca. I mean, this could end up being the exact location. It might not be the same double storm that happened in 14, but it could be the exact same area where you find that. There you can see the intensification right through the northern half of West Seneca, not near the border of OP, but right in there. South of the Thruway, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, Town Line, Depew. Again, south of the airport, where the airport gets some snow, but that's where I think we're leaning on that cutoff line is. West Seneca, Cheektowaga line, a great piece of real estate out there. How much snow is expected? Well, you're going to be in the heaviest hit areas. And it's during the course of the day on Friday, you're going to be over a foot of snow in that area. I believe that's the probability there. It's snowing in Dayton currently. And Dave, I don't know, can we switch to the other map? Because Lori is down in Dayton and she's dealing with the lake snow right now. And what I want to do is talk about what's happening tonight, because that's going to be a situation where they're shoveling out in portions of the southern tier tonight. So let's go bring that in. And there you go. You can see that this is what's happening right now. That's the live picture. They've already have the lake effect band in a rain snow mix sticking to the ground in spots out there, and that's going to produce about 4 to 8 inches near Springville, extreme southern Erie, northern Chautauqua, Cattaraugus.
Yeah, and you widen out the view, you notice that right now Buffalo is dry. We are seeing some outer bands trying to sneak its way up into Lackawanna, but this is not the big snow event. This is just the pre-game to what's going to come our way late Thursday into Saturday. But yes, this is going to eventually intensify for those of us deep southern Erie County, Chautauqua Ridge. You folks are looking up between 4 and 8 inches later day into tonight.
Yep. Hey, Susan Marie, you're looking at something there in Tonawanda. So let's talk about that for a moment, because what we're going to find is that up in Tonawanda, you're going to end up with some snow on Saturday, not necessarily on Friday as much. So here's the situation as we watch this unfold, and we'll do this specifically for you. Here, I'm going to back this up and help this kind of track this for you. And there we go. Here's the onset of the storm as it begins to move up and into portions of Niagara County. So just as this gets going, late Thursday evening, I'm going to pull your puppy off the screen there for a moment, and you can see that this does target areas to the north briefly. So enough to cover the ground, enough to make that morning commute, use your winter driving skills, and then it settles south of you in Tonawanda for a while. North Buffalo. Hey, John, great to have you in. I love that profile picture. That is awesome. The Blue Angels cruising by City Hall. And that's another situation in North Buffalo that's going to be kind of dicey. And I'm going to bring David back in here, and we'll take a look at it. Dave, you with us? You back? No, not yet. So we are going to look at this for North Buffalo and help them out. Let me fix this right here. Okay, perfect. There we go. Now we got you back. And we're looking at North Buffalo because we haven't touched on that a lot, because that's the dividing line. I mean, you're going to go between North Buffalo and South Buffalo, a huge, huge difference, which was exactly the case last time. So let's go ahead and look at just the city proper. You'll see the 290 at the top of your screen, the 190 at the bottom. And as we move through this and bring that band in, you'll be able to see the wall in North Buffalo. Kenmore, all of those areas looking down, that's where you're going to end up with you're on the outside looking in of this event for most of the day on Friday, unless something dramatic happens where this changes its position. But right now, it does look like it's going to end up slightly south of Kenmore, North Buffalo, setting up shop in those same areas that were affected in 2014. Let's go this. Canada and Niagara on the Lake. What you're looking at over there in Canada, first of all, hello, we love our Canadian viewers. And what you're watching is that as this gets going, the folks in Canada will get a burst of snow as well. This is Grand Island, Niagara Falls, both sides of the border, and then it settles south. So if you watch the number of hours, you're there from around midnight, 11 o'clock, and you'll probably get a solid couple hours, enough to coat the ground with some snow for your morning commute. And then this is past you back down south in Buffalo and then off towards Batavia during the course of the day. On our Friday. So you're in this for the onset, but then you're kind of backed off it a little bit. Hey, want to let everybody know, go ahead and text 503-ANDY-2639, 503-2639. When we're done with the stream here, we're happy to continue answering the questions. We have a bunch of questions coming in, and we'll get to those on the text line, but we'll be doing that right through the course of the storm. So happy to have you doing this. Let's go. When will the heavy snow hit Amherst, Williamsville on Friday, and what is Saturday look like? I think we'll cover this again, Amherst and Williamsville. So let's back this up and bring it in. I think everybody knows by now, Thursday night between 8 and midnight is the start of it. That's when you get this burst of snow. And as I think she said, let's go back to it here. It was Amherst and Williamsville. So there's Main Street. It's not going to be pretty. But then again, this is 1 a.m. Thursday night going into early Friday morning, and then it begins to sink slightly south of the thruway. So areas north of the thruway actually see improvement for the morning commute. But you are within a stone's throw of seeing this on your doorstep. So if we just kind of take a look, focus on the north towns all the way out to Brockport and Batavia, that's what you have. The south towns is where we're finding this for the morning commute. I've stopped this at around 8. Let's assume people are going to start their morning commutes on Friday a little earlier, or maybe telecommute, and we'll even go down to portions of the southern tier and show you that you can see that even along the lakeshore, this could involve right along the shoreline, David. And I'm going to bring you back in, and this is one of those elements where the shoreline communities could actually see the clouds near Dunkirk, but they might not impact the shoreline that much, but they'll be so close to watching this. A great view of the storm anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the pictures from 2014 that you can see that snow bubble just to the south of Buffalo. And if you're out in there in, the shoreline, some of the extreme Chautauqua County areas, or even maybe north of this band, looking on in, you're going to get a beautiful sight there. But yeah, you're looking at that band early Friday morning, and it's going to be a tough one to travel through, Randy.
Yeah, I think we're going to call it fully involved. Here it is, just getting going. And once it locks in, once it decides which community is going to catch the brunt of this, if there's not a lot of wiggle right in there, that might be, 11 a.m. could be a real ugly time as this kind of locks in. And there's going to be a lot of snow collecting from 11 and look at that, from 11 to 5. If you do the snow math just in there from, let's say, noon to 6 p.m., and you're getting snow rates, we're going to go on the light side here at 2 inches. That's a 6 to 8 hour window. That's 16 inches of snow during the day on Friday in those communities that are getting locked in. And as we watch which communities those are, I know from this distance it's a little hard, but let's go ahead and bring this in a touch closer into the city. How close is that to the city? Look at that, right on the edge.
Yeah, and with Frederick Austin, chances of thunder snow with the storm, and yeah, you're gonna somebody's gonna hear thunder snow with a band that's going to be producing 2 to 3 inches per hour. But with extreme events like this, we were just talking about this earlier. The models tend to push that band of snow a little bit, by 10-15 miles further south than what it's actually being depicted right here. So there is a good chance that downtown Buffalo, unlike in 2014, you're gonna see some significant snowfall in the metro area, in South Buffalo, the Pew, Alden, just on the fringe right there as well, Andy.
Yeah, when it's this close, when it's literally a car ride that takes you 2 or 3 minutes, it's a matter of a couple of miles, the edge of this thing. That's why when we put that up there, this is not to be taken as law, like that this is going to stop at Sloan and not move into the city. But if you're anywhere right now between Hamburg and Buffalo, this is where we're narrowing it down. We're kind of taking the north towns, we're taking the Tonawandas out of play on Friday, and it's really lining up on this fetch that goes let's take it out over the lake, all the way down and then up and impacting the thruway corridor all the way towards Batavia. And that's where I think the wiggle room comes in from Depew to Akron to Pembroke and Batavia. Again, when you watch this evolve, it swallows up those communities at times. We're hoping for this wobble, David, because that'll spread the snow around a little bit. If it doesn't wobble, that's when we're in big trouble, and it's going to lock in on one spot and produce the same type of totals that we saw in 2014. All right, let's talk about this. Cancel early morning flights. I don't think it's a question of if. I think it's a question of when they start canceling it, because if you remember one of the images, I drove by the airport, there was a plane that actually had its tail pushed down and the front in the air. Do you remember that picture? I wish we had it. It would have been great. But it tipped the plane up. They don't want their planes anywhere near this. And the fact that the airport is in the zone that could be hit, they're going to get all of that stuff out of there on Thursday. And then if it ends up being where the airport, this is 5-6 miles south of the airport, they'll start coming in from a different angle and leave that there. Oh, great. I will send this to weather nerds. I know. I appreciate that. That is, we wear that as a badge. It's a compliment. Thank you very much. I think we've covered a lot in here. North Buffalo, we dealt with that and back to it. So, I mean, this is kind of what we're up against. We wanted to get out because there's the new information. We feel very confident in the start time on this. We feel very confident in the location of the band on Friday. And I'm going to back this up. We're going to go through it one last time as far as where this thing is and where it's going to be. And you'll be able to notice that it's going to kind of just take that angle and slide inland. So there it is tonight. This is where you're getting the snow in Springville. And I think, David, we're looking at 4 to 8 inches on the hills of Southern Erie, correct?
Yeah, the people that are going to need the snow blowers is the rich top of Chautauqua County, extreme Southern Erie County, Springville. You're in the bullseye between 4 to 8 inches of snow. But the action really, really begins to start late Thursday into Friday.
Yep.
You can see right there. There's that lull. And then past right around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, between 7 and 10, this is on the doorstep of smashing into Buffalo.
Yep. There it is, right through the city. Things get bad. Fortunately, it's after the evening commute for everybody on Thursday. And then the morning commute on Friday is going to be one that if you can avoid it at all costs, go ahead and do it. Friday is the worst day of weather with this weather system. It's the day the most snow is going to fall. And that's going to be the case. And right now, the target area is south of the city. What we're going to know on this storm when the next line of information, the data dump, if you will, comes in later today, we're going to be able to extend this further into Friday night and Saturday. Now, the hope here is that this begins to wobble up and hits portions of Niagara County. And the reason that we're hopeful for that is that it cuts down on the disastrous totals that could happen if it was a 2-day storm, right, Dave?
Yeah, it's really going to cut down on the back-breaking shoveling that we would have to do if it was just on one location. But if it is going to meander, then it spreads the snowfall and it makes it a bit easier. But still, I mean, we're talking about a lot of snow out there for those of us into the Evans area, all the way into Buffalo, Cheektowaga, Lancaster. We can pop up some more towns on the map here, and you can see Clarence Center. You're in that bullseye for more than 8 inches of snow, up to a foot of snow on Friday. Yep. And keep in mind, I mean, this is late Thursday, this is Friday, and this is at least early Saturday into early Saturday afternoon. So this is going to add up over time. 2 to 3 inches of snow per hour. That's a lot. That really does add up, Andy.
Yeah. So that's the key, is that we know when it's going to start. We know where it's going to be. We've narrowed down that red zone. If you're in the red zone, Friday is going to be ugly. The questions that we're going to unpack later tonight when we get the new data is, does this take a jog to the north? Does it impact the north towns during the day on Saturday? And I think the other piece of the puzzle that we have a lot of confidence on is that on Saturday night, it gets swept out of here. So the game on Sunday looks like we will see the lake effect, the strongest band, leave the building in time for the tailgate. So I don't think they're going to have to move that game out of the stadium unless they can't remove the snow from this, and they don't want to, or they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to shovel it out. So we'll find that out tonight. So what I'd like you to do is like and subscribe, hit the like and subscribe button. That way, when we fire these up, you'll be notified. Also, if you send a text, real easy. I believe it's on here, super, super easy. If you go 503-ANDY, 503-2639, send weather, text weather to that. You'll also be notified. And we're going to do these as soon as we get the new data and can give you another piece of your weekend and unpack another piece of the puzzle. We're happy to do it to you. And then you don't have to wait. You can always text and have us. You can put the weatherman in the palm of your hand anytime you need the information the way you want it, when you want it. On behalf of David Vogan, who's behind Sandra there he is. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have another update later today. Bye now.